I'm starting to fall in love with my husband, but I don't know how to deal with it. We got married because of a dare. My best friend bet me $50 I couldn't get a date for my cousin's wedding. I was 26, freshly dumped, and too proud to show up alone. So I asked the guy who delivered our office mail. His name was Daniel. He was 28, quiet, read actual books on his lunch break, and had never once tried to flirt with me even though we talked every single day. I figured he was safe. I said, I need a fake boyfriend for one weekend. I'll cover your hotel room and gas. He looked at me for a long second and said, okay. We drove 3 hours to the venue. I gave him the basics. My ex cheated. My family asks too many questions. Just smile and hold my hand when my aunt looks over. He said, got it. Then he asked what my favorite memory of my cousin was. I don't know why that question hit me the way it did. The wedding was beautiful. Daniel was better at this than I expected. He remembered names. He laughed at my uncle's jokes. When my mom pulled him aside and grilled him for 20 minutes, he came back smiling and said, she's incredible. She asked me my 5-year plan. I told her I was figuring it out. She said that's the right answer. I didn't know what to do with someone who charmed my mother without trying. The reception was when things got complicated. My ex showed up. Nobody told me he'd been invited. He walked in with someone new and I felt the floor tilt. Daniel saw my face before I could fix it. He didn't ask. He just took my hand and led me to the dance floor and said quietly, you don't have to watch them, just look at me. So I did, and that was the problem. We danced for 4 songs. He smelled like cedar and something warm. He kept his hand steady on my back and he talked to me the whole time, low and easy, about nothing important, just to give me something to hold on to. By the end of the night, I had completely forgotten my ex was in the room. We drove back the next morning, quiet for the first hour. Then he said, for what it's worth, I don't think he deserved you. I stared out the window and said, you don't even know what happened. He said, I know you. That's enough. I made him pull over so I could get air. Back at the office on Monday, everything felt different. He dropped the mail at my desk like always. I said thank you like always, but I couldn't look at him the same way. I kept replaying the way he said, just look at me. The way he never once made me feel like a burden for the entire weekend. The way he told my mother he was figuring it out and meant it. 3 weeks later, I asked him to get coffee. He said sure like it was nothing. We sat for 2 hours. He told me about growing up in a house where nobody talked about real things. I told him about my dad leaving when I was 11 and how I learned to make myself small after that. He looked at me across the table and said, you're not small. Stop apologizing for taking up space. I went home and cried for an hour and I wasn't sure why. I called my best friend and told her I think I have a problem. She said $50 says you're in love with him. I said that's not funny. She said it wasn't a joke. I avoided him for 9 days. He didn't push. He just kept dropping the mail. Then on the 10th day, there was a small note tucked under the stack. It said, still here if you want coffee. No pressure. I walked down to the mailroom and knocked on the open door. He looked up. I said, I don't know how to do this. I get scared and I disappear and I'm not easy. He said, I know. I've been watching you disappear from things for a year. I'd like to be the thing you stop disappearing from. I don't know what's coming next, but this morning I came in early and brought him coffee. He looked up and smiled and said, you remembered how I take it. I said, I pay attention. He said, yeah, I know. So do I.